Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Good seed in his field.
And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Then Jesus sent the multitude away, and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
To them, you're a cockroach. Let me digress for a moment and talk about the horrifying videos that you've seen of people who suddenly die by planking, by just falling over in one piece. Typically, they either look around in perplexity because they're obviously hearing and experiencing something and they're looking for the source, or they don't do that, but they just suddenly die in one piece. It's the mother walking the baby in the baby stroller. It's the guy buying food at the fast food window. It's the person walking down the street. It's the Arab diplomat speaking to a bunch of poobahs, and as he turns around to celebrate somebody, he simply falls over backward in one piece. Well, I'm a doctor, and let me tell you that people don't die by falling over in one piece. There's only one way for that to happen, and I've made a video called A New Way to Die, speculating. And these are not the people, we're talking about people who die of blood clots and heart attacks and so on. These are the people who die this way, in one solid piece. Now, my speculation is that they are experiments, because we are just cockroaches or lab rats to the great ones who see themselves as the elite. They are not the elite. They are scum. They are less than pond scum, because pond scum has a place in the ecosystem. They do not. These are the psychopaths who see us as nothing to be respected, only to be used and disposed of. So what I believe is that they, having been rejected, and many of these people are in, that you see on the videos are in China, but not all of them. And China has a very, very high rate of vaccination, as we know, mandatory vaccination. I believe that the nanotechnology that has been injected into them causes the voluntary muscles, the striated muscles, to go into a spasm when they're hit with a pulsed microwave 5G signal. Exactly. That's the kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly. the muscles that move your body are striated muscles, voluntary muscles, but you have another striated muscle. It's your heart. And so if you're hit with an energy pulse that causes you to go into total spasm, as this boy on the screen has gone into total spasm, your heart is also going into total spasm. I believe that these are experimental deaths to see if the pulsed microwave 5G system, soon to be replaced by the 6G system, is effective in eliminating those who are targeted for that elimination. And you will watch as this man goes into a complete spasm. This is not how people ordinarily die. This is induced death. This is part of the experimental program to which you notice her arm is extended. She's in spasm. Her heart, I believe, has been placed into spasm as well. Now, if they're willing to do this to us, what else are they willing to do to us? You saw how people were locked into their homes and welded into their homes in China. That's only the beginning. That's only the beginning. Kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly. Kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly. Kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly. Kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly. Kind of death we're talking about. And you notice that the arms and legs go out stiffly.
Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Last December, so about a year ago, I interviewed 4 to 5 vaccine-injured people. Mainly, I think they were all from British Columbia. There was a woman, an elderly woman, who survived. Her husband didn't. He was dead within, I don't know, a week or two of the shot. She had a reaction, and I wasn't even expecting her to tell me I didn't know she was going to be saying what happened like this. And so she's talking about these demonic entities that were like coming at her. It started 15 minutes after the vaccine, lasted a couple of days. And I talked to her daughter and said, like, has your mom ever been diagnosed with like any mental diseases, schizophrenia, anything like that? She goes, no, my mom's perfectly healthy. She's never had any of these issues. She's telling the truth. And I was there while she was acting crazy. So she recovered. Now she's telling me about these entities that she saw, and more videos around the world are coming out of people looking over their right shoulder, freaking out. You'll notice in a couple of the ones I show you, their eye does exactly what Katy Perry's eye did, where one eye goes screwed up or actually goes off to the right just before they start circling and swatting at things and fighting things in the air. Just before they start circling and swatting at things and fighting things in the air.
So we got the shot on April the 8th, I think it was, a Pfizer, and then the trouble began.
Okay. What was the trouble?
Well, he didn't have as much of a symptom as I did. In that probably the same afternoon, I started to get so dizzy and sickly feeling, but the dizziness and which we say your brain seems to get into another place, and that was so discombobulating that I fell and broke my hip, my leg up at the hip there.
Oh.
Then, of course, I went to the hospital, but by this time I had started being hallucinogenic, I guess, because I couldn't get out of this terrible space that my brain was in, that I was in a bad nightmare. Visually, I just kept seeing a bad black smoky thing and snakes and it looks like devilly creatures. They seem to me very evil. There seemed to be an evil component, because these little things that were coming in my vision were they looked like undersea creatures, but they had a devilish look. And also in the mix there was many snakes, and I got quite disgusted and feeling bad about that. The other thing that was really awful was this terrible smell. Now, this wasn't just like a visual image. I felt I was right in this cave or smoky place. The smell was so awful, and I was really scared. I couldn't stop trembling and being scared. And my daughter, I had her on the phone because I wasn't feeling well, and she said I was stammering and I couldn't seem to speak. My head was just completely in an upset state. So after the doctor, of course, I had to go to the hospital with my broken hip leg, and it was broken right up near the hip there. Anyway, in the hospital, this continued on, and it was a better part of a week, and I was still feeling trembling and scared, and I couldn't really talk, and I couldn't see well. But the main thing was this terrible psychological fear that I had. It was the nearest thing I ever came and I could ever imagine to becoming suicidal, because it seemed like I think I couldn't get out of it. And it was just so awful that one evening in the hospital, one of the nurses, she sat and prayed with me, because I said, I'm so scared. I don't know how I can go on. And she was very good. And I was blessing her. It seemed a little bit of a help. And then gradually, after a couple more days, it wore off a little bit. But the memory of it just even makes me feel bad now, because it was a terror moment, and the feeling that you just can't, you're just helpless. It was, I don't know what drug trips are like, or like anything like that, but it was the worst sensation. But it was not just visual. The thing, it was so physical with me too, and I can't ever forget the bad smell that went with it. And I don't remember sound so much, but just the fact that my whole body seemed to be cooked.